Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is actually going to be my first video ever, so bear with me. First one I've ever filmed for YouTube. Really excited. Been putting it off for a while, but I finally got my camera. Still waiting on my tripod though, so the only thing holding up my camera right now is a disinfectant wipes bottle. What I want to do today is a get ready with me, just something simple so you guys can kind of see what I use on a daily basis, why I like it, and any recommendations for you guys. Anyways, let's go ahead and just get started. So the first thing that I always do is make sure to wash my face. So my face is clean, it's moisturized. Right now I'm using the Foreo with some Neutrogena plain old face wash, nothing special. I have really sensitive skin, so that is something I like to be really careful about. I don't like to use anything with fragrances for washing my face or anything with a lot of harsh chemicals, and what I'm using right now doesn't have a lot of those in there. So I'll definitely do another video on full-on skincare, but what I did want to go ahead and share is the face lotion that I'm using at this time, which is the Cetaphil Daily Hydrating Lotion. This is for dry to extra dry skin. It does have hyaluronic acid, and says it provides immediate and lasting hydration, non-comedogenic, and fragrance-free. So perfect for us girls with dry skin as well as sensitive skin, which is me all the way. Next thing I always like to do is prime. Primer is very important. It lays down a good base for your foundation to kind of hold on tight, leaves it a little bit tacky, if you will, just to make sure that you are ready to go with a good canvas. This is the Becca First Light Priming Filter. I always forget, I always want to say it's like the backlight, but it's actually the First Light Priming Filter. It is an instant complexion refresh, as it says on the bottle here. Personally, I love this. I actually started using this from a recommendation from Kathleen Lights. She said it was her tried and true. She's got dry skin. I love watching her videos, and usually her recommendations are wonderful. So I went ahead and I picked this up, and it is actually almost gone, if you can see that, or at least more than halfway gone. So I have been using the heck out of this. Depending on if I'm really dry, sometimes I will go in with my little sample of the IT Cosmetics Secret Sauce. The only problem with this one is I do notice that it breaks me out, so I cannot use it every day. It's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. I was using it every day, so this is really only for my really dry days, and you know, it's about $68 for the full size, so not too ready to go ahead and splurge for the big one yet, but gonna go ahead and go in with 2 pumps of the Becca First Light Priming Filter. So anyways, I know a lot of different YouTubers like to kind of talk through their get ready with me's. You know, one thing I want to kind of build is just a really good foundation with my subscribers and, you know, good conversation in the comments. So go ahead and comment down below how you guys are doing, any tips or tricks for your getting ready in the morning, because this is kind of just going to be my general, you know, what I do in the morning. It's not too simple, but it's enough to make me feel good for the rest of the day. And once my skin is primed, go ahead and make up a little concoction actually with my foundation. So I tend to be on the very pale side, and I did go and get color matched at the MAC counter at Ulta, which is wonderful. If you haven't checked out the MAC counter at your local Ulta, be sure to check that out. They're wonderful over there. They do give samples. I know currently only Clinique and MAC give samples at Ulta, which is wonderful because you get to really try that out. So right now I'm using the Studio Fix Fluid. It has SPF 15, and I'm in the shade NC15. Now, I did get this shade at a time where I was a little bit more tan for me. So right now I actually mix it in with a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape. So from what I've been hearing around the makeup community, everybody loves this stuff as an under eye concealer, as a brightener, as a highlighter for underneath their under eyes. Personally, I can't stand the stuff under my eyes. It's really drying underneath my eyes because I have really dry under eyes. Speaking of, I actually skipped a step. Let's go ahead and back up a little bit. You do want to make sure to also put on some eye cream underneath your eyes if you're dry. Currently, I'm using the Believe in Truth Moisturizing Eye Balm. I did get this in a Sephora Play Box, and it is amazing. This is a huge sample. I don't know exactly. It is 0.17 fluid ounces, and it has lasted me already about 2 months, maybe more, and I use it night and day. So I usually just get just the teeniest little amount on my ring finger, and that is actually enough for both eyes. And you just want to gently pat underneath the eyes up into the lower lash line without getting it in your eyeball to avoid that crepey looking dry skin underneath the eyes after you put on your concealer. Now that we are fully primed and prepped, we are ready to go ahead and build the little concoction with the foundation. So what I actually do is I start off by putting a little bit of the Tarte Shape Tape on the back of my hand, kind of like this. See if I can show you guys. Depending on how full coverage I want to go, I'll go in with 1 to 2 pumps of the MAC Studio Fix Fluid. I think I'm going to go with 2 today. Why not, right? And I kind of mix that together. The Shape Tape is a lot lighter than this foundation, so it actually works out to be about my perfect shade. I'm hoping in the summer, because I am moving back to California shortly, as I know a lot of you know, yay, about 24 more days. Hopefully I will get a little bit more tan and I won't have to do this anymore, because once I run out of that Shape Tape, I don't think I'm going to be repurchasing it unless it's the only way for me to, you know, mix in with my foundations. I know there's a lot of lighteners out there, or ones that can even darken foundations if it's not your exact shade, but I just really like the way that this kind of works with my skin, the concoction. It's not too drying. Now the Studio Fix Fluid, from what I've heard, is normally really more for girls who are on the oily side. I find with the Becca Backlight Primer, or excuse me, the Becca First Light Primer, see I did it again. The Becca First Light Primer really hydrates me enough that I don't have a problem with that, and I use a really hydrating setting spray as well, so that isn't an issue for me. The other thing that works really well, I only ever got a sample of it, is the Clinique Smart Oil. So if you have that and you really want to try the MAC Studio Fix Plus, give that a shot, because even as dry girls, don't be afraid to try out matte or either not as dewy foundations, because you never know how it's going to work out with your skin. Currently, I am using the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge. I just have the regular size one. I know a lot of girls are using the body sponge. I've heard really good things about it, that it works a lot faster. But you just go ahead, and since it's on the back of your hand and it's all mixed in, you just sort of start patting it into your skin. And I love these beauty blender slash, you know, just beauty sponges, because they really do give an airbrushed finish. And I have a little mirror down here, so that's what I'm looking down at the moment. Pat that in the best you can. The good thing about these sponges and this foundation concoction as well is that it really is buildable, and the sponge helps you build it without it looking too cakey. So I like that a lot. One thing I would caution against is if you're going to be using a sponge with a very liquidy foundation, be careful, because these sponges do soak up quite a bit of product. So if you have a really liquidy foundation and you're just not quite sure, do a little test with a drop, or even do a test with, you know, your normal amount if you're willing to waste a pump or 2 of foundation. Give it a shot, see if it sucks up too much, because if you find you're using 3 to 4 pumps of foundation with the beauty sponge, to me that's just not worth it. Especially if you're getting higher end foundations that are more costly. I'm all about saving money where you can. With the more liquidy or viscous foundations, you want to kind of just go in with a flat top kabuki like the Y6 from Morphe, or even I have a really great flat top kabuki that I love that I got in a set. Looks like this, really packed in there, and this works great for my more liquidy foundations. It works well for blending out the neck as well. Really like that, and I got it in a set that was only like $14 from Amazon. I wonder if it still has the name. It is by Do Care. It has a little water droplet. See if I can get that to focus. But it's DU Care. So check that out on Amazon. I love these brushes. I use quite a few from the set every day, so I would highly recommend that. So anyway, I'm taking forever. You usually don't want to take this long to get your foundation in, because especially with the more matte foundations, it does tend to dry down pretty quickly, so you want to work with it the best you can. I did hydrate a lot with my moisturizer and with my primer, so we should be okay. And you definitely want to blend down into the neck. So I usually try to leave a little bit on my hand after getting it, you know, covering my face, so that I can actually go in and lightly blend down into my neck. And then at the end, I go in with the flat side and I get the rest of the foundation, there's probably only a little bit left, and I pat over my more needed areas, breakouts, discoloration, and just kind of try to cover those the best I can. A lot of people lately I've noticed are putting foundation on their ears. Again, I have really sensitive skin. I'm really prone to breakouts, so I try to avoid as much as I can getting makeup actually on or in my ear, but I do have the shaved sides and undercut, so I do have to go up close to my ear so it doesn't look like I missed a spot with my foundation. So I get pretty close, and sometimes I'll kind of like lightly pat once my foundation I know is pretty much gone so that I'm not having any major color differences or anything like that. And I'm sorry about this lighting. I'm doing my best, guys. Eventually I will have a better setup. And then the other thing I want to go ahead and recommend is I do put on a lip balm after I wash my face and before I put on my foundation and everything, because foundation will stick to your lips. Some people like that. They think it helps their lipstick last longer. Personally, I find that it tends to kind of do that pilly thing underneath my lipstick and it doesn't stay on as long, so I actually like to avoid that as much as possible. Lip balm is going to help. It's going to help make that easier to wipe off before you put on your lipstick. So I like to put that on. Right now I am using the Carmex Comfort Care Natural Colloidal, is that how you say that? Colloidal Oatmeal Lip Balm in Watermelon Blast. So that is what I'm using currently, and I love it. It's amazing. It smells really good. Kind of smells like, I don't even know what it smells like. It reminds me of being a kid, but like some kind of watermelon candy. Oh, like those watermelon Sour Patch. That's what it smells like. It's amazing. It's about $2 or $3 at, you know, CVS, Walgreens, Target. Who doesn't love Target, right? So I just kind of go in and do one last pass, especially over my forehead where I'm getting finer lines with that flat side to get as much of the excess foundation as I can. And you also want to take a lot of care in your hairline to make sure that there's no major difference in between the the area up against your hairline and your forehead, because it can be really noticeable when you've got foundation there and it's not blended. Now, I'm not saying to put foundation in your hair by any means, but with that clean flat side of the blender, or if you're using a beauty blender and you don't have a clean flat side, just find one of your ends and do your best to kind of blend that all in. By the way, if you guys see me doing this, here's a little tip for you. Instead of scratching when you get an itch on your face, once you've put on your foundation, if you just tap with either your finger or a beauty blender, it gets rid of the itch and you don't mess up your makeup. Little tip from Jeffree Star, I believe, or Laura Lee, one of the two. As you can tell, I'm pretty obsessed with watching YouTubers and researching and getting as much information as I can. The next step is going to be to conceal. So once you've got your foundation on, you want to go in with concealer. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the Shape Tape. I know a lot of people are, but I absolutely love the Maybelline Fit Me concealers. I started off using these probably 5 or 6 years ago and I never went back. I've just learned how to use them better. And currently I'm using 2 shades. They did recently come out with a lighter shade because I'm usually the lightest shade, but I started off with using number 15 Claire, and this one's getting pretty used up, that's for sure, because I do use this every day. But then they came out with their lighter shade, which is number 5 Ivory. The weirdest thing about these was I noticed they originally were just sitting kind of at the drugstore and you would just pull one out and you were done. You'd always have to kind of check the sticker to see if it had already been opened or used. I'm very into making sure things are sanitary and not used before I purchase them. And then this one was actually in a unit carton, or like one of those packages that you have to open up. And the formula is different. Don't get me wrong, it's still good, but it's a little more drying than the other shade. And I'm not sure, I haven't researched to see if they talked about changing the formula, if that's something they're going to continue to do or not. So what I actually do is I just go in on my darkest areas with that one, and I do the rest of my under eye concealing and highlighting with the other one, because that's what I like to go ahead and use concealer for. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute and go ahead and go in with the concealer. Alrighty, so that's about as crazy as I go. I like to go under the eyes, down slightly onto the cheeks. You don't want to dot as much or just go under the under eye if you're looking for a brightening effect. You want to go in with these strokes outward, and I like to do one down my nose. I don't necessarily contour my nose, but I just think that it adds a little extra brightness because that's right in the center of your face, and that's what you're looking to do when you're adding on concealer as a highlighter, is you're brightening. So you want to bring that all to the center of the face, and then we'll go over contouring in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this out. You want to be gentle and use patting motion so that you're not pulling on the skin of your under eyes. This can cause even more fine lines, and then it can also cause, in my case, a lot of redness. So I do my best not to pull at my under eye. And you know we all make this face. And I do like to go up into the lid because I get a lot of discoloration, mostly because I'm so pale and you can see the veins coming through underneath my eyes. So I like to make sure to cover that up. So anyways, I'm like super excited, you guys, actually. I am going to visit my friend Ashley today. She just moved here from California. Our moms have been friends since they were 16 years old. We grew up together, we went to the same schools, and then her boyfriend and her got moved out to Oceana, where my husband is actually based as well. And even though I'm leaving, it sucks that I'm leaving her. I'm really excited for her. She did just have a new baby, and she started her own business, and she makes these gorgeous tumbler cups. And I mean, she orders them like totally plain, and then she decorates them, and she designs all these great things on them. It's awesome. So I'm actually going to go pick some up from her, and maybe I'll do some stuff on my Instagram stories to show you guys so that you can see. But they are awesome. I ordered some for me and Raylan, so I'm really excited about that. So after we've blended all of that in, you want to set the under eye. This is something you have to be really careful with if you have dry skin. If you have oily skin, you want to go in with that setting powder, whatever you're going to be using, and really set the under eye so that it's not going to move or budge. But personally, I have to be very careful because I do want to set my under eyes, but I don't want to dry them out even more. So what I'm using right now is the Too Faced, and this is the translucent Born This Way Ethereal Setting Powder. I love this stuff. I got a trial of it in Sephora. Love Sephora because they give you great sample sizes, and I fell in love. So I actually went onto Too Faced. They were out of the big size, so I just ordered the travel size, and I actually really love it. So I think I might continue to purchase the travel size. It fits perfectly in my makeup bag, and it still has a lot of product. I believe this is, let's see here. Does it tell you? I don't see. Maybe it was on the box, which I threw out. Oh no, there it is. Okay, it's 0.05 ounces. It's, you know, it's a decent amount of powder, and I really like it. So what I go in and do kind of looks like that, as I just take the pointy side of my sponge and I get a really light amount on my sponge, and I very carefully go under the eye to set that concealer. Oh, hi Yoda. What are you doing? If you guys do not know me, that is my German Shepherd Yoda. She's adorable. She's my baby. All right, then I like to go in with even less and just lightly set my lid. Some people use eyeshadow for this. I'm not exactly sure what eyeshadow I'm going to be using today, so I'm just going to go in with a little bit of that, and then I go in with a little bit as well right down the center of my nose, and that is also brightening. The great thing about this powder is it has this, I mean, it's called Ethereal Setting Powder. It has this amazing, I don't even want to call it glitter or sparkle because it's not glittery or sparkly, but it just gives you this true glow, and it just looks like you're more awake and brighter. Actually, something I've started doing recently. I wasn't going to do it today because I'm not going to work, but I do work at a call center. I work for Geico currently. I've only got a little bit left, but I do end up sitting like this a lot at my desk, and that just starts to really move around the foundation. So what I like to do to try to avoid that as much as I can is I actually go in with that flat part of the sponge. Oh my god, I just got way too much because I wasn't paying attention. So let's go ahead and try to get some of that off. I actually go up underneath my jawline and just kind of set that area to do my best do my best to avoid moving that foundation around. Since we're doing a get ready with me and this is normally what I'm doing to get ready for work, I'll do what I normally do for work. So we're done with that, and now on to my favorite part. I absolutely love eyeshadow. I have way too many palettes right now and about 10 to 20 more that I want and I'm saving up for, but I have to say, of all the palettes that I have, the one I get the most use out of is actually the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. It's amazing. I don't remember how much this retails for, but it is on the Morphe website, but you get a huge amount of colors to work with. I mean, you've got your neutrals for your everyday looks, kind of more at the top. You've got down here some more exciting purples and teals, and then the pollen in this area is so bad. Sometimes I can barely stand it. Anyways, so what I like to go ahead and go in with first, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I usually don't have any kind of plan with what I'm going to do with my eyeshadow, so I just kind of start to go in and hope for the best. Okay. I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to go ahead and go in with the shade that is third from the left. It's kind of a camel brown, really light shade. And I'm just going to work that into the crease. And right now I'm using another one of those Do Care brushes from my Amazon list. I always like to tap off the excess. And I start here at the edge. I kind of tap it into the outer V and just go in with a very light hand into the crease. Now, I'm not going to get too into like an eyeshadow tutorial because that could literally be a whole video in itself, but comment down below if that is something you guys want to see, because I have a feeling that is going to be another video that I do very shortly, because it is my favorite thing to do is work with eyeshadow. I really think it can transform the face and just, I mean, it can make you feel like a princess, or it can make you feel like a badass. However you want to feel, eyeshadow can do that for you. Lipstick too, but that's another thing we'll get to. I have a crazy lipstick obsession, but eyeshadow right now is my favorite thing. I'm just going to go ahead and go in and just deepen that up a little bit with a little more of the same color. Do they have the names of the colors? Oh my gosh, I forgot they do. So the third color from the left is actually called, is that right? It's called Silk Cream or Creme. Silk Creme. Anyways, that's what that color is. I forgot they were on the back. I'm going to move you guys in a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing here. Finishing up with just a little more on this eye, and that's going to be my transition shade. What should we do next? I'm wearing gray today, so I feel like we need to go in with something really exciting. I'm going to go in with this really pretty kind of wine rusty brick color. It's a really weird description that I just gave. And on the back it says that that is called, what are you? You're 5, 1, 2, 3. I think it's called Jax. J-A-C-Z. Jax. Whoa, can anybody say pigment? That is crazy. I haven't used this color yet, believe it or not. I've had this palette for forever and I have not gone into that color. So I'm going to go ahead and pray that this is... That's scaring me a little bit. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go in to the outer V and just lightly brush that over. Not going all the way over into the crease because I'm going to buff this out, but just deepening that enough to give it a little more oomph. I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. Oh my god, I almost touched out here. I need to pay more attention. Always seem to get this eye perfect, and then this eye is like a little wonky, and I feel like it's because I'm right-handed, so I'm going at an angle here that's perfect, so I have to like try my best to go in at an angle with this eye. Again, not going all the way over into the crease. I'm using my other mirror on this side. You can see a little better. And doing my best to create a upwards trajectory of the eyeshadow. This really opens up the eye. Awesome. Okay, that did exactly what I wanted it to do. And then I'm going to grab a Morphe brush that I really like to use to buff out my eyeshadows. This is the Morphe M518. It's just, you know, I picked it up as an extra in my Ulta basket one time. It's one of the brushes they carry. There's a lot of other options on the Morphe website, but you know what's funny is I've only ever ordered from the Morphe website once for the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I really need to get better about ordering more eyeshadow brushes so I have more to work with. I like to take a washcloth and keep it next to me, a clean one. I usually pick out a clean one every day, and that is to help kind of, it helps me dry off my beauty sponge first of all, because you do want to dampen this, but you don't want it to be too wet, so I use it to kind of dry that off a bit. And then I also use it as a in-between for eyeshadows. I know they have those pans where you can do color changes. I have yet to get one of those. I really need to, but you know, eventually. So I'm just going to kind of go in with a semi-clean brush here and buff that out so there are no harsh lines. Just want to be really gentle. I'm not pressing really hard. First of all, you don't want to hurt your eye. You don't want to mess up your brushes. But if you push too hard, you're just going to start moving around the eyeshadow instead of buffing it, which is what you want to do. So really, really light hand. I think I'm really liking how that turned out. But I'm going to go in with a shimmer shade now. So let's go ahead and pick something out from here that I think is going to go well. Here's another, you know what, let's go in with another shade I haven't used before. So this is actually Crayon Apple. It's this shade right here. It's this gorgeous color that's almost like a lighter version of Jack's, but it is shimmer or foily. I don't even know what you would want to call that. It's gorgeous. So we're gonna go in with that. Now you can do one of two things. You can do a cut crease where you go in with concealer and you pat that lightly either with your finger or a flat eyeshadow brush to carve out where you want that shimmer shade to go. It's gonna make it last longer. You can go in with a glitter glue, which I know a lot of people do as well. Yoda's just hanging out in the back. Or you can honestly just go in with your finger if you're not going anywhere or if you're not concerned about it lasting as long, then, you know, I wouldn't go the extra step. You can even just spray with a little Fix Plus or setting spray, whatever you use. I like the Mario Badescu setting spray. I need to stop moving as much. So you can go in with anything like this. This is the setting spray that I use. It's really hydrating, but it works great for wetting brushes, for foil shadows as well. I'm going to try going in with my finger first. Like I said, I haven't used this particular shadow yet. Ooh, wow. That is gorgeous. That is really, really pretty. So I'm going to go in with that and hope that, and actually that is amazing. So these shadows do, in my experience, most of the shimmers I've used so far work amazing, even if you're just going to go in and use your finger to apply and buff out a little later. They work great. So I think I'm just going to continue on that path, and I don't want to go over the last shadow that I used and cover that up. I'm just going to go into the bare area where there was nothing. But I'm going to go in with that same blender brush that I used before. There's no additional product, and I am just going to very lightly, even lighter than before, blend those two together. So again, there's no harsh lines. Really make that super cohesive. I don't know what Yoda is staring at, but she is very intent right now. And the next thing that we're going to go in and do is I'm going to grab a clean eyeshadow brush. And this is one of my favorites. This is the Morphe M330. It's got this really awesome, it almost looks like a paintbrush, doesn't it? It's got a really awesome pointed tip. It's super soft. And it's really good for blending out into the crease or adding light bits of shadow on the inner corner and blending in. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm actually going to go in with a lighter shade just to give this a little more dimension and light. That is this shade right here. And I'm just going to swirl that in there and go right on this inner corner and blend inward just to give that little bit of a pop. And there's probably some red shadow. If you guys are doing exactly what I'm doing right now, go ahead and wipe the brush off on whatever you've got so that you're not messing up the other side. And then just super lightly blending that inward. That is awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of eyeliner, curl my lashes, and do mascara. This is just a dark brown eyeliner pencil, really simple. I just want to add a really, really light line to really define the eye. And I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to pull just lightly to make it a little easier for myself. Oh my god. That escalated so quickly. Problems with eyeliner. Right, so we're going to do the age-old trick of just going a little higher on the other side. This is fun. This could go on for years. Like, I could just keep screwing up and having to go higher and higher on my eyeliner until my eyeshadow is completely covered by eyeliner. That will be fun. Well, that's as good as this eyeliner is going to get. And we'll see how it wears throughout the day, but I don't think I'll be using that again. So now that that's done, I'm going to go in with my eyelash curler. This is just something I got in a Birchbox. It's probably the only thing I actually liked out of my Birchboxes besides the one MAC mascara that I got in my Birchbox. It's just normal eyelash curler. Nothing special about it, but you know, I have to go in with this. My eyelashes tend to go straight out, and that makes it really hard for me to keep mascara off my face, because every time I blink, it would go down underneath my eyes or poke me in the eyes. So eyelash curler absolutely 100% has to be a thing. Even if the only thing I'm putting on is mascara, I always go in with my eyelash curler. And then as for mascara, right now I am actually using the Voluminous Million Lashes from L'Oreal. This is, I believe, in the darkest black color. It looks like this, really pretty gold, and it just really separates and adds a lot of volume. I'm not as concerned about length when it comes to mascara, but volume has to be a thing. And I'm going to pick up my mirror. I have this really cute mermaid palette that I don't actually use as much as I would like to use it. It's just the colors aren't as practical, so it's not like my go-to eyeshadow palette for every day. The mascara face and assume position. Oh no, what have I done? All right, if that happens to you, let it dry and take a dry spoolie and lightly scrape it off, which I'll show you guys how to do in a minute. Don't touch it until it's dry, because you will completely ruin whatever's underneath it. Oh yeah, I'm really not liking this eyeliner. Do you guys see that? It's so clumpy, and that's not the mascara. That's the eyeliner. I'm really bummed that I used that. We will make it work somehow. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go ahead and do my best to leave that spot alone, because if I mess with it, it's gonna make it worse, and go in with a little bit of bronzer and contour. I like to use two different things depending on the day. I either use a combo of the Too Faced Soleil Chocolate Soleil Matte Bronzer in Medium Deep, which I know sounds weird. I have never tried the lighter shade. I just really like the color of the Medium Deep. It's like this right here. It's a really, really great contour shade. It's not as great for bronzing, but I either use a combo of that for contour and then the Hamptons Weekender Contour Palette shade in Farmer's Market. That is so cute. I never knew that. I never noticed that's what it was called. In this color right here for bronzing. Both of them smell amazing. Does this one smell like chocolate too? Kind of, yeah. Well, whatever. The chocolate Soleil definitely smells like chocolate. The Hamptons Weekender smells amazing, and I like to use a combo of those. Or if I'm just doing mascara and lipstick that day, nothing crazy with my eyeshadow, I'll actually go in with this really awesome little guy right here. This is the Clinique Defining Nudes Sculptionary Cheek Contouring Palette. That is a name. Oh my goodness. I love this because you can actually just mix all the shades together, and I hit right above where I would normally contour and kind of right below where I would normally put blush and kind of use it as a contour blush combo, and then I lightly touch into the highlighting shade to even out any harsh lines and go right above my, or right underneath my eyebrow. Like that is so hard to say, eyebrow. Anyways, I went in with eyeshadow pretty heavily, so I'm not going to go in with that today. I'm going to go in with my normal contouring plan, and I'm just using, believe it or not, lately I've been really loving this blush brush from Ulta. It's just a regular old Ulta brush, but it's got like, it's kind of all messed up because I've been having it sit on my desk, but it's got a really good shape for contour, at least for me right now. I change it up a lot, but I just go ahead and swirl that around in the pan, tap off any excess, and I like to go in just about here and about midway down my cheek. Now that looks super dark right now, but that's kind of how I like to do it. I go in with a pretty heavy hand, and then I actually take this awesome little what do you call this? It says Duo blending brush, but it's like a buffer. It's awesome. I'll think of the name in a second. But I love this brush. I got it at CVS or Walgreens or something, one of the two. It was inexpensive. It's really easy to clean. It's super soft, and it is wonderful for buffing out. So what I actually do is I go into the Farmer's Market shade in the Weekenders palette, and this is really pigmented, so I just lightly tap into that, and I actually buff that out and kind of bronze at the same time. Oh my god, I'm like making myself dizzy looking at myself in the viewfinder. Are you guys dizzy? And this takes some time, guys, so, you know, I wake up in enough time in the morning to do this, usually, and nothing else, unless I'm lucky and I wake up and get coffee first and really get my day going. Thank God my 7-year-old is really awesome and gets her own breakfast and sometimes even makes her own lunch. She really likes to do that. Now, I'm not a big blush person. I have a couple. I don't really like the way blush looks on me, so unless I'm going to an event like the Navy Christmas party or like a play or something, I really kind of avoid blush, except for that cute little Clinique palette. It does have a blush in it, and I like to use it as both, but that's about as far as I go with blush. So my finishing touch of actually adding things to my face besides setting spray on my eyebrow is highlighter, and I'm obsessed, absolutely obsessed with the Jeffree Star Skin Frosts. This is my favorite. It's in the shade Uranus. I know, it's hilarious. This was the collab with Manny MUA, who is one of my all-time favorite YouTubers. I love him. I love Jeffree Star. Not a popular opinion. Totally understandable. Not everybody loves Jeffree Star. Personally, I love him. I think he's refreshing. I think that even though he doesn't always have the best stuff to say, and he might not be a saint, that he's pretty honest about stuff, and I really love his makeup brand as well. So I absolutely love the highlighters, the Skin Frosts. I have two right now, but this one's been my favorite. So I go in with the Morphe M510. It's my favorite highlighter brush. It just picks up a lot of product, and I love the way it lays the product down. So I just hit the highest point of my cheek, and I go in with a lot of highlighter. I like to glow. Can you see it? Am I glowing yet? Am I a fairy princess? Anyways, I absolutely love this stuff. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you're really gonna be able to see it. That is a great angle, except for you can see that little mascara blender. So anyways, I like to go down my nose as well. And I didn't pick up any extra product after this because I don't like to look like I'm sweating, because that can happen with too much highlighter. I just hit the tip of my nose and right down the center, and then I'll super lightly tap in like that and tap off the excess and hit my Cupid's bow. I have nothing extra on my brush, but I just want to go ahead and hit right above my eyebrows, because why not? And then I'm going to finally grab a spoolie and get rid of that mascara blob. Just using the spoolie from my eyebrow pencil. That's not always the safest bet because I might have product on it, but it's the only one I can find right now, so this is what we're going to use. And like I said, you just want to lightly, very lightly, because the eye area is really sensitive, you want to lightly take the spoolie and just flake it right off. And I'm going to go in just with my beauty sponge because I'm sure there's a little bit of product left on there, and I'm just going to lightly tap over that area just in case there's any extra pigment or anything like that. Last thing we're going to do before setting spray, I know I think I just said that, but last thing we're going to do before setting spray is the brows. Now, I really need to go get my eyebrows done, so they are not going to look great. But we are going to work with what we've got because, I mean, you know, mom life, hashtag don't have time to go get my eyebrows done half the time. I could be going to get them right now, but I'm really wanting to film, so we're doing that instead. This is just an e.l.f. brow pencil. It was like $3. Not expensive. I believe it's in the shade taupe. Yeah, it's in the shade taupe. I'm really in an in-between area with the color of my hair, so I like to go with taupe because it's a good shade for me and it's not warm. I don't have a lot of warmer tones in my hair anymore now that I've finally gotten rid of most of the red. But anyway, you just want to go ahead and brush the brows up, and then with the shade, I just like to lightly feather in some of the more sparse areas. I even like to kind of go backwards in the brow a little bit. I know that sounds weird, but you don't want to be too harsh in the front of your brow, but you just want to get enough of a shape going. And then I just lightly go over where all the natural hairs are. Like I said, this is not going to be perfect. And then I do the other side before combing them out. Actually is not half bad. Because I don't spend a lot of time filling in my brows, some days I don't even fill them in. That's why I like these more affordable pencils, because you know, I could go out and buy an expensive pencil that works a little easier or, you know, looks a little better, and I may do that if I eventually start to really fill my brows in, but I don't have too much of a problem with the way they look naturally. I just like to set them most of the time, so it's not as big of a deal to me. And you know, e.l.f. products work pretty great. So right now I'm just kind of blending in all of that fill-in that I put in there. Use the word in too many times. And getting them to a shape that I like. I think that looks pretty great. And then I go in with a brow gel. This is the Anastasia brow gel. It has lasted me forever. I'm not going to lie to you, I probably need a new one, but plenty of product in there, so we're going to use it. This is just the clear Anastasia brow gel. I love it. It's like 20 bucks. It lasts forever. Highly recommend it. This is where I spend my money for my brows. That's why I like to get the cheaper colored pencils. And a little goes a long way. If you don't want your brows to do funky things, like let's say you're like me and you really have a lot of expression with your eyebrows, don't put a lot of this stuff on. They will end up like this at the end of the day. So I just super lightly tap in a couple of areas, and I only go in that one time, and then I take the spoolie from the same eyebrow brush and spread the product out and really get my brows into a good shape. Alright, I'm happy with those. The last thing that I want to make sure to do is a little bit of lip product. So, are we going to do lip gloss or are we going to do lipstick? I don't know. Alright, we're going to go in with a lip crayon. I absolutely love the formula. This is the Bite Beauty lip crayons, and it is a matte lip crayon, which I really like because it still goes on creamy. It doesn't dry down too much, but there is that kind of matte situation going on afterwards. So it's not like a matte liquid lip, and it's too drying, but it's just gorgeous, and it is in the shade Glace. Look like this. Just going to go ahead and go in with that. Alright guys, so that is the end of my Get Ready With Me. I hope you really enjoyed it. Hopefully there isn't too many spots of it where I'm unfocused or but you can't see what I'm doing. If you liked the video today and you want to see more from me, definitely comment down below, like the video, as well as subscribe and hit the bell. I know that's a lot of stuff to do, but if you want to see some more content, definitely go ahead and do that. Also, comment down below with anything else you guys want to see from me. If there's any products you want to see tested out, anything you've seen me mention on Instagram that you want to see me talk about, I can definitely do that. But until next time, just what do I want to say? What's my sign off? Should I even have a sign off? I don't know how to do this.